Imagine the mist-shrouded hills of southern France in the summer of 1764, where the air hangs heavy with the scent of pine and wild herbs. A young shepherdess, barely 14 years old, tends her flock in a quiet meadow near the village of Les Houbacs. The sun dips low, casting long shadows across the rugged terrain of Gévaudan, a remote, unforgiving province in the Margeride Mountains, where dense forests swallow the light and ancient paths wind through valleys forgotten by the bustling world beyond. Suddenly, a rustle in the underbrush. Her heart quickens. She turns, and there it is. A massive shadow bursting from the trees, eyes gleaming with feral hunger. Before she can scream, it's upon her, jaws clamping down with savage force. That girl was Jeanne Boulet, the first recorded victim of what would become one of history's most terrifying enigmas, the Beast of Gévaudan. For 3 long years, this creature would turn a peaceful countryside into a nightmare of blood and fear, claiming over 100 lives and leaving a scar on the soul of France that lingers to this day. Welcome to the shadows of the past, where legend and horror collide in the true story of France's savage curse. To understand the terror that gripped Gévaudan, we have to step back into the world of 18th century France. This was the era of King Louis XV, a time when the country was still reeling from the devastating 7 Years' War, which had ended just a year earlier in 1763. France had lost colonies overseas, its economy was in ruins, and the people, especially in rural areas like Gévaudan, faced grinding poverty, harsh winters, and the constant threat of famine. Gévaudan itself was a wild frontier, part of the larger Languedoc region, now mostly encompassed by the department of Lozère. Picture vast plateaus dotted with granite boulders, deep gorges carved by rivers like the Allier and the Lot, and endless forests of oak, beech and fir that provided cover for wolves, bears and other predators. The population was sparse, maybe 20,000 souls scattered in hamlets and isolated farms, where families scratched out a living herding sheep and cattle. Superstition ran deep here. Tales of werewolves and demonic pacts were whispered around hearthfires, blending Catholic piety with ancient pagan folklore. Wolves were a known danger. France saw thousands of wolf attacks over the centuries, but nothing prepared them for what was coming. It started subtly, with rumors of a strange animal lurking in the woods. In early June 1764, a woman in the Mercois forest near Langogne reported seeing a beast like a wolf, yet not a wolf. It charged at her, but her cattle drove it off with their horns. She escaped shaken but unharmed. Then, on June 30th, tragedy struck. Jeanne Boulet was found mauled beyond recognition, her throat torn open, parts of her body devoured. The villagers buried her quickly, without the full sacraments, as fear began to ripple through the community. Whispers spread. This wasn't an ordinary wolf. Eyewitnesses who glimpsed it described a creature the size of a calf, or even a young cow, with russet or tawny fur streaked in dark patterns, a broad chest like a horse's, a long tail ending in a tuft, and a snout more like a pig or calf than a canine. Its eyes burned with an unnatural fire, and it moved with terrifying agility, bounding across fields in leaps that defied nature. As summer turned to autumn, the attacks escalated. In August, another 14-year-old girl in Masméjean met a gruesome end, her body found partially eaten in the woods. By September, the beast had claimed more lives in the Allier Valley, children snatched while playing, women ambushed while gathering water or tending gardens. The pattern was chilling. It targeted the vulnerable, often lone shepherds or herders, striking in broad daylight without fear. Victims were decapitated or had their throats ripped out, their entrails scattered. One account from a survivor spoke of the beast rearing up on its hind legs like a man, its claws slashing through flesh as if it were paper. Panic set in. Villages like Puy-Laurent and Saint-Étienne-de-Loudarès barricaded their doors at dusk. Mothers kept their children indoors, and men armed themselves with pitchforks and scythes. The local authorities, led by figures like Étienne Lafont, the syndic of the Diocese of Mende, began organizing patrols. But the beast eluded them, vanishing into the misty highlands as if it were a phantom. By late 1764, the story had reached the ears of the king in Versailles. Newspapers across Europe, free from the heavy censorship that plagued political reporting, devoured the tale, turning it into a sensation. The Courrier d'Avignon, run by François Morenat, published lurid details, fueling hysteria. Some saw the beast as a divine scourge, a punishment for France's sins amid the Enlightenment's growing secularism. The Bishop of Mende, Gabriel Florent de Choiseul-Beaupré, issued a pastoral letter on December 31, 1764, calling it a scourge sent by God and urging the faithful to pray and repent. He organized processions and masses, blending religious fervor with the hunt. Meanwhile, the attacks continued relentlessly. In January 1765, one of the most heroic tales emerged. Young Jacques Portefeuille, just 12 years old, and 6 other children from the village of Villaret were set upon by the beast while herding cattle. The creature lunged at them, but Jacques rallied the group. They formed a circle, using sticks and makeshift pikes to fend it off. Jacques even stabbed at its eyes, driving it back long enough for help to arrive. The king himself heard of this bravery and rewarded Jacques with 650 livres, a small fortune, and funded his education at a royal school. Stories like this humanized the horror, showing glimmers of courage amid the despair. But courage alone wasn't enough. King Louis XV, eager to restore his image after wartime defeats, dispatched Captain Jean-Baptiste Duhamel and his Clermont Prince dragoons to Gévaudan in January 1765. Duhamel, a veteran seeking redemption, arrived with fanfare, setting up a command post in Saint-Chély-d'Apcher. He mobilized thousands of locals into hunting parties, using military tactics: beaters to flush the beast from cover, soldiers disguised as peasant women to lure it out. They even tried poisoning dog carcasses as bait. Duhamel described the beast in his reports as a hybrid monster, perhaps the offspring of a lion and a wolf, with red fur and a black stripe down its back. For months, they tracked it through snow-swept valleys and fog-laden moors, but it always slipped away. One night in February, Duhamel's men thought they had it cornered near Montmouchet, a jagged peak shrouded in legend. Gunfire echoed through the trees, but come dawn, only blood trails led to nothing. The beast seemed invincible, fueling rumors of sorcery. Was it a loup-garou, a werewolf, summoned by some cursed soul? Peasants crossed themselves and clutched silver crucifixes, recalling old tales of shapeshifters in the Auvergne forests. Frustrated by Duhamel's failures, the king sent reinforcements. In February 1765, the Denevals, Jean-Charles Marc Antoine Vomes le Deneval, and his son Jean-François, arrived from Normandy. They were professional wolf hunters, boasting over 1,200 kills, and brought 8 bloodhounds trained for the chase. The father-son duo clashed with Duhamel, accusing him of incompetence, and took over the hunt. They scoured the region, from the Truyère River to the slopes of Montgrand, setting traps and following scents. But the terrain betrayed them: steep ravines, thorny thickets, and sudden storms that washed away tracks. Locals grew resentful, seeing these outsiders as arrogant intruders who disrupted their lives. By spring, the Denevals had killed several large wolves, but the attacks persisted. A young boy in April was found with his head clean, bitten off, his body dragged into a copse. The beast's boldness grew. It attacked near villages, even in sight of armed men. As the death toll climbed, over 60 by mid-1765, the pressure mounted on Versailles. Louis XV replaced the Denneval with his own royal gun-bearer, François Antoine, a seasoned hunter known for his marksmanship. Antoine arrived in June 1765 with his son and a team of elite trackers. He was determined, methodical, interviewing survivors and mapping attack sites. One such survivor was Marie-Jeanne Vallée, a 20-year-old servant from Pauillac-en-Margeride. On August 11, 1765, while crossing a bridge over the Dège River with her sister and a friend, the beast ambushed them. Marie-Jeanne thrust a bayonet-tipped spear into its chest, wounding it deeply. The creature howled and fled, blood streaming from the gash. She became a local hero, dubbed the Maid of Gévaudan, or Amazon of the Dège, and a statue was later erected in her honor in Auvers. Antoine praised her bravery, but the hunt pressed on. Finally, on September 20, 1765, Antoine cornered what he believed was the beast in the woods near the Abbey of Chazes. His shot rang out, felling a massive grey wolf measuring over 5 feet long and weighing 130 pounds. The animal's stomach contained human remains, and survivors identified scars from previous wounds, including Marie-Jeanne's spear. Antoine paraded the carcass through villages, then sent it stuffed to Versailles, where it was displayed as a trophy. The king rewarded him handsomely, titles, pensions, even a coat of arms featuring the slain wolf. For 2 months, Gévaudan breathed easy. Celebrations erupted, the curse seemed lifted. But in December, the nightmare returned. A shepherd in La Bessère-Saint-Marie found his flock scattered, and soon after, a woman's body was discovered, mauled in the familiar way. The beast, or perhaps another, had risen from the shadows. 1766 brought sporadic terror, with attacks narrowing to a 15-kilometer radius around Montmouchet, Montgrand, and Montchauvet. The locals, abandoned by royal hunters, took matters into their own hands. The estates of Gévaudan met in Marvejols and proposed radical measures, poisoning stray dogs and leaving them as bait. But the beast evaded these traps, its intelligence seeming almost human. Whispers grew of a conspiracy, perhaps a nobleman training a beast for sport, or a serial killer in wolf's clothing. Jean Chastel, a local farmer and hunter from La Bessère, emerged as a controversial figure. He'd been imprisoned briefly for misleading Duhamel's men, but now he joined the fray. Chastel was a devout man, known for his silver bullets blessed by a priest, drawing on folklore that only sacred metal could slay a supernatural foe. The climax came in the spring of 1767. Attacks surged again, claiming lives like 19-year-old Jeanne Bastide in Nozerolles on June 18th, the last confirmed victim. The Marquis d'Apcher, a local nobleman from Saint-Chély, organized a massive hunt on June 19th, gathering 300 men, including Chastel. They fanned out across Montmouchet's slopes, the air thick with tension and the baying of hounds. Chastel positioned himself in a clearing, rosary in hand, reading his Bible as if waiting for divine intervention. Suddenly, the beast appeared, a hulking form charging from the brush. Chastel raised his musket, loaded with those silver bullets, and fired. The shot struck true, piercing the creature's heart. It collapsed, dead at last. The body was examined by Dr. Boulanger, a local surgeon, who documented it in the Marin report penned by notary Roch-Étienne Marin. This beast was slightly smaller than Antoine's wolf, about 5 feet 7 inches long, weighing 109 pounds, with a reddish pelt, black ridge, and 42 teeth, unusual for a wolf. Its stomach held the remains of its last meal, possibly human. Scars matched survivor accounts, including old wounds from spears and bullets. The carcass was stuffed and sent to Versailles, but after a brief display it vanished, likely buried in a noble's garden as it began to decompose. With its death, the attacks ceased forever. But was it truly over? The Beast of Gévaudan's legacy endures as a riddle wrapped in myth. Modern theories abound. Was it a single, oversized wolf, perhaps an escaped Italian subspecies with its distinctive red fur, or a pack of wolves amplified by hysteria? Some suggest a striped hyena or young lion smuggled from Africa, matching descriptions of the snout and stripes. Others point to a wolf-dog hybrid, trained or feral. J.M. Smith, in his book Monsters of the Gévaudan, argues it was likely multiple wolves during a period of unusually aggressive behavior, fueled by harsh winters driving them to human prey. The supernatural lore, bulletproof hide, fiery breath, hind-leg walking, likely stemmed from fear and exaggeration, echoing werewolf tales from medieval France. Yet, in the quiet villages of Lozère today, the story lives on. Museums in Saugues and Auvers display replicas and artifacts. Films like Brotherhood of the Wolf in 2001 romanticize it with martial arts and intrigue, while books and songs keep the legend alive. It speaks to our primal fears, the unknown lurking in the wild, the thin line between man and monster. In Gévaudan, they say on misty nights, you can still hear the howl echoing through the hills, a reminder that some shadows never fully fade.